Nubook 1, From Then to Now, Part 16. I realised that I was relating to the other part of myself that knew the true reality, not the part of me that constantly questioned what was taking place in its own little world. Where I was at, the personal self was unavailable to interfere with my real perception. I took a look at the life before this one. I was an Indian then also. I could see many different scenes where I was with Rebazar. He has taught me in my previous lives, and by doing so, each life has become even better. I could see that the life before this one was very hard, and I had to struggle a lot, but he told me that it was necessary to do so, because it would build my endurance. I was willing to go through what I had to, so that I could have the life I wanted, even though I didn't know what it was going to be. I entirely trusted the real guides to bring me to the point of realizing what is real. Shiss eventually broke me out of my experience when she started communicating with me through her beingness. Goldie, I can see what you are looking at. It has all been a plan for you to come into this position and from here to go further. The real guides know who the great reality has chosen. Some souls will enter the real universes during your time on Earth, but they will not be the chosen one to present the true reality. The golden staff of light, that is the vehicle to secure the freedom for all individuals in the lower levels. Your past lives were shown to you because you had not yet considered them. The Earth planet is the school of hard lessons that must be dealt with to bring about the right attitudes for a survival that most people are not aware of. It is also for the sake of your own being, and to centre you into the real isness, she said. What she was saying seemed to go right through me, and establish what I needed to understand, and firm up the direction I was to take. I looked up at the sky. That was a deep, beautiful blue, and so alive in its own reality. Specks of light from many areas would appear, and then moved about, and would disappear into somewhere. The true reality that all souls are seeking is so immense that there are no words to describe it. The doctrines of the earth were invented as an indication of what else there is, but have actually become a lost cause for those that allow themselves to be led by their minds, instead of their own beingness and heart, that is having the real experiences with what is real. I could see the illuminated road I was to travel, and how it would be hard on the physical body, From this real position, it was a simple process of perceiving what is occurring in me. You are correct, Goldie. You have the real vision that surpasses what everyone else cannot see. They cannot realize anything past their embodiments and the drama that is taking place in their lives, which is constantly perpetuated by the influence. This is why the real guides have chosen you. You will bring forth the true reality like never before. There will only be so many who will see and realize what you will be presenting. There will also be many more that will play the part of resisting within themselves to justify what their mind holds to be a reasonable position. The great evil that broods through the world of men is constantly building upon itself, and does not want to let the unaware from its grasp. It is because there are so many that want the decay instead of the real wealth and the real treasures that life has to offer. There will always be those who want the destructiveness that comes with living on earth. They could choose the real light and explore the unknown, but they will choose the darkness as a way of life, without seeing what they are really choosing. Your next lifetime will prove what people really want, and that is to justify being held to their personal life, so that they can have all the things that have no value, but that have value to their minds and emotions only. For you, and those that are willing to explore, all the advantages that are always in the present nowness will lend themselves. It takes great courage to overcome the little self that only wants the limitations and ends up obliterated. Your being is in such a way that you will always cling to the real. You will be scorned from so many who will be jealous of you, because they will want what you have, but they will not sacrifice like you to get it. They will see that you are successful, but they will wonder in their little minds how you are able to accomplish what you do and know, she said. As she was talking, I had moved my awareness into the true reality, and there was a sound that was so wonderful I didn't want to leave. I forced myself away, and soon returned my awareness to myself, and sat and observed where I was. I have always had a desire to know about those people in the past, who have gone through what I am going through now, and how they did it. So many people look to those in the past, who have presented certain ideas about the gods they knew, yet most people still only cling to their doctrines without any real experience, she said. What about Jesus? Who was he? I asked. Sis looked at me and smiled. I was wondering when you were going to ask me that. There has always been a mystery around him, because the real truth about him has always been kept hidden. He is not the only one that did what he did, or said what he said. There were many others. But it has all been kept a secret. There are forces on the earth world, and up to the 3rd level, that do not want the real truth to be known. The rulers and controllers only want the mental and emotional attention of people, and their support to build their own egos, and to furnish themselves with the lifestyle that makes others envy them. They are the ruling classes, the elites, who have anointed themselves as royalty and the privileged, so they can justifiably steal from others. It exists on earth today, as it always has, but it will even be more so in the future. Jesus was foretold to enter the human realm in a certain body. He was an advanced soul at the time, and was destined to be trained by the real universal guides during his life on earth. The real guides accepted him while he was still in his youth, and taught him for many years. At some point, Jesus decided to go out on his own and do what he did. He actually did too much by performing miracles that were of the dualistic power. As he was trying to prove that he was sent by the gods of man, the church was watching him closely and becoming concerned with what he was doing, so they forced the politicians at the time to get rid of him. By getting rid of him, they were still in control and had their followers, and they did not have the criminal conviction of what they had done, nor the blame for his death. It served the purpose of the church to get rid of Jesus, because he was starting to get too much attention, and the dark forces do not like to be number 2 on the earth. As long as it was official with the political scene, then the church appeared to be innocent of having anything to do with his demise. Finally, the church established the idea that Jesus died for the sins of all, which eventually took hold as a very strong idea among the masses. Again, the earth systems are based upon agreement, and fear being the basis of these systems. Fear is what has perpetuated the hold of all the ideas the church has invented to rule the minds and hearts of unaware souls. People are taught to fear the invented authorities, and so lifetimes pass, and people are still clinging to their fears. In the real universes, there is no room for fear, only real freedom. Look at all the poor people who support the great structures that have been built in the name of the gods that man has chosen. There are so many everywhere, and they will multiply many times over into the future. And what are the people themselves given? They are given a fabricated hope that their life will become what has been proposed to them, but they lack the true realization of a permanent position of real freedom. because they are taught to believe in the formulated written document and verbal words of deceiving humans only. What people really get is a secondary life that will only last so long, and then they will have to return into another unknowing position with a new body and a new mind, and be under the same rulership as their previous lives. The second and third heavens are truly beautiful, but there is so much more to know and be. Jesus was taught on the other side before he came onto the earth, and he is no different than you and I, as he has chosen his life to be what it is. He was a very aware individual, and so the real guides took him on as a student. He was born into a certain family, and then he was guided to the secret schools to be taught until he decided to go out into the world on his own. He also learned many of the psychic miracles, such as healing and transforming material matter into whatever he wanted. At some point he went out to tell others about what he had learned. Once people found out that he could manipulate matter, they wanted to use him to combat their enemies, so a plan was set into motion by the church and its leaders to get him out of the way. The church destroyed the saviours and saints of the past, because those unique individuals that took on the courage to provide some truth to the masses were becoming too popular, and Jesus was one of them. The church rulers could easily see that if they let the truth-bearers have their way, the church would lose its position of control and power over the minds and hearts of their support. So, being the rulers they are over the hearts and minds of even the politicians, they contrived the idea to eliminate those who would stand in their way, by a means that would not reflect upon the church. The church ordered the execution to be done by the political systems that were already feared by the public, so it wouldn't matter if they were to blame, because it would all appear to be workable and justifiable. This is how the influence of the space gods works. Because most people are not able to get to the real truth, they must settle for something of no real value at all. The thread of conspiracy has weaved its way through mankind's history as the main predominating force, and becomes very evident when seen from a realistic view. The mind of man has been so integrated with the undermining of his soul that he cannot even see any real light, but only the light of the astral and mental worlds, where his gods are waiting for his return to their formulated heavens. Mankind is living the dream he does not want, but must do so, because he has been emotionally unstabilized through an educational process that has created an endless deception of images that hold him to the effects that he wishes to be rid of. in this day and age and into the future. It is a huge paradox for anyone to rise above the compacted illusions that constantly confront society. The illusion makers of the earth are looked upon as gods in the same fashion as the gods of man. Deception rules the public awareness and is paraded about as though it were something unique. Future lifetimes for all those that like to play the space god games will be a continuation of mental and emotional unstableness. With Jesus, his first mistake was that he got caught up with his own personal magic, his psychic powers. He actually began to interfere instead of properly present what the real guides wanted. The real guides do not use the lower powers to perform miracles for the sake of convincing others, nor do they interfere with personal will. They know that each person must choose for themselves without being persuaded. Jesus also let himself be trapped and hung for no reason. The church invented the idea of him taking on the sins of others, so they could promote him as theirs. In this way, they played both sides to their benefit. The church rulers got rid of him, and, in the same vein, established a subconscious hold on people for lifetimes of manipulation. What has been said about Jesus over the years is from the promotions that the controllers want everyone to believe in. While he was here, he actually tried to teach people about the true reality, and something better than the established belief systems. But most people would not listen, because they were already so emotionally attached to their ideas that had been promoted to them for hundreds of years. He allowed himself to get caught in the political nonsense of the day. He did show courage, but he was in a hostile environment where he should have left and let the brutalitarians to their own fate. Anyhow, it doesn't matter what he did or didn't do. The promoted experiences that are claimed about him are a sweet story for unaware children, and have nothing to do with a soul becoming more aware. Life is simple and real, beyond any belief that can be imagined. You already know this. You are willing to discover what others won't. Most people plan their lives in a certain fashion, and not realizing that everything they have planned becomes lost. This is the reason they continue to return and search for the true reality that has been within them and nowhere else all the time. The promoters of the belief systems only want more than their share of the earthly life. They also want the shares of others. Jesus said the blind would lead the blind, and it is so. What he meant was that the controllers would take advantage of the unaware and use them for as many lifetimes as they could. Your purpose will be to show people how to be free from their limited self and to enter into the real universes beyond the levels and realms the belief systems have established. People do not have to spend lifetimes on the earth for nothing. They can learn to make the real connection within their life now, and clear away all the illusions that have been proposed to them. Anything is possible once people have the right education and guidance, she said.